And welcome to another episode of the Tar Heels Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Grant Chachere, and of course, I am also the lead beat writer for North Carolina Tar Heels on SI. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today as we have a very big game in Chapel Hill. Of course, it is also homecoming weekend in Chapel Hill as the Tar Heels will take on the Stanford Cardinal. Both teams are 3-5. North Carolina is 1-3 in conference play, while Stanford is 2-3 in conference play. This is a big game for both teams. Both teams are vying for bowl eligibility, of course. And if either team wins today, then you got two more. You only have to get two more wins to become bowl eligible. And I'm not sure how likely it is for either team, but what we do know is that the closer you are to becoming bowl eligible, the likelier your chances are. However, it depends on who you play. But what we do know about North Carolina is that if they do win today, their end of the season schedule is tough. However, it's also doable. And what I mean by that is that you have three teams, Wake Forest, Duke, and NC State, who are all dealing with problems, right? For Duke and NC State, their defense isn't very good. And for Wake Forest, their defense is good, but their offense isn't the greatest in the world. But what makes them tough is, of course, I already mentioned Duke and NC State have elite offenses. And then, of course, Wake Forest is a pretty good defense. But also what makes them tough is that they're rivalry games, right? So there's nothing to lose, essentially, for the Tar Heels. But that road gets a little bit easier if you're able to pull off a victory over Stanford today. You want to make things as easy as possible for you as you move along down the schedule. For Stanford, of course, they got actually they're probably not going to make it. Stanford is 3-6, so their road's a little bit tougher than North Carolina. So they're not 3-5, they're 3-6, and their last three games are, of course, North Carolina, but then Cal and Notre Dame. So it's not very likely they're going to make a bowl game, just based off those three opponents alone. Especially Notre Dame. I don't see them beating Notre Dame at all. But this is a very, very winnable game for North Carolina. This is a very, very winnable game for North Carolina. Stanford's in the 120s in total offense and total defense. They're going to have a new quarterback this week who is a true freshman. And I think that bodes well for a guy like Belichick. Bill Belichick, of course, was when he was in the NFL, he always had a great record against rookie quarterbacks. And it just comes with being a defensive play caller. You know what a rookie quarterback tends to do. And it's kind of the same thing in college football, right? College football, freshman quarterbacks are a little bit more jittery because they're new to a new level of competition, right? So I really do like North Carolina's chances in this game just because Stanford's not really that great of a team, although they do have their moments where they would tend to shock some people. Like, for example, they beat Florida State. So I think Stanford, their offense is great, and neither is North Carolina. It's like North Carolina's actually statistically worse than Stanford. However, North Carolina's offense is improving, right? I've mentioned this in a previous podcast before. Also written an article about it as well. But if you look at North Carolina and their improvements in that realm, right? I'll give it, and this is perfectly encapsulated. So in the first 5 games of the season, North Carolina was averaging 265.8 yards per game, 161.6 yards through the air, and 100.2 yards on the ground. Of course, the total offense and passing offense were last in the ACC, and in terms of rushing offense, they were 14th. In the last 3 weeks, however, they're averaging 354.6 yards per game, which is nearly an 100-yard improvement. Passing offense, they're averaging about 196.6 yards per game. In the last two games, Gio Lopez has thrown for over 200 yards. But before then, he had not thrown for 200 yards, period. And then their rushing offense they're averaging 158 rushing yards per game. That would be sixth in the ACC had they averaged that the last 8 games. So they are improving. So that's what, and really that's what I like about North Carolina's chances. They're improving. They're getting hot. Their offense is getting better. The defense has shown to be one of the best in the country. Right now, they are 30th in total defense, 25th in rushing defense, or 55th in passing defense. They're in the top 10 in terms of red zone defense. And those are massive improvements compared to last season when they're in the 70s and 80s for most of the year. So large credit needs to go to Steve Belichick. And of course, I mentioned that. I actually did a podcast about that a couple of days ago on Thursday, kind of explaining the defensive improvements that UNC's defense has had. So it's pretty incredible to see. So that's why I like UNC's chances in this game, because they're improving on both sides of the ball. I think everyone's playing with a lot more confidence. They just won a game, and really they should be 5-3. They should have beat both Cal and Virginia. So I really do like North Carolina's chances going into this game. I really do. Stanford's not a great team. They're in the 120s in both total offense and total defense. They're one of the worst passing defenses in the country. And, of course, that also bodes well for North Carolina because their passing game is starting to improve over time. And like I mentioned, they're averaging nearly 200 yards a game now. I just really do like their chances. And by the way, now I mentioned Bill Belichick has always had success against rookie quarterbacks, and that's something you should pay attention to for this game. Well, when he was in the NFL, Bill Belichick had a 21-6 overall record against rookie quarterbacks when he was in the NFL. And actually at home, he was 13-0. So, I think everything bodes well for North Carolina in this game. I mean, it really does. And I think this win, and you winning the game here is very important, because if you win this game, the road to a bowl game gets a little bit easier. You only have to win 2 games instead of 3 if you lose this game. I mean, this is a game this is not only a must-win game, but this is also a very winnable game. This was a very winnable game for North Carolina, even before they had that losing skid. Just because I just never thought Stanford was that great of a team. I even mentioned before the season in a preseason article I did on Stanford is that if they lost against Stanford, then you need to blow the whole thing up because they're not going to be a very good team, and they haven't been a very good team. Now, they've had some shocking wins, of course. Well, they beat Boston College, which is a shocking win at all. It's Boston College. They're the worst team in the ACC, but they did beat Florida State. And yes, I know Florida State's struggling, but Florida State on paper is a lot better team than Stanford. So there's that. But I think this is a very winnable game for North Carolina. I do like North Carolina's chances. Here's the thing. There's 3 things they got to do. 1, throw the rock. Stanford's passing defense is not very good. Just put that out there. Number two, don't give them hope. You're the better team. Don't do any stupid stuff. Run the ball, throw the ball, be efficient, move the chains, sack the quarterback, do whatever you can. Just don't give this team hope. This isn't a very good team. You are the favorites in this game. Vegas has you as the favorites in this game. Do not give them hope. You are the home team. You have all the advantages in the world. You arguably have the better coach. You may have a better team. You're at home. You're the favorite. Take care of business. And also number 3, which is the most important thing, because apparently they love to do it. Do not turn the ball over. They've had 7 fumbles this season, which is tied for last in the ACC. They've had 13 turnovers, which is tied for 95th nationally. They've also had 5 red zone turnovers, which of course also leads the ACC. And turnovers will lost you games account. The reason why you lost against Cal Virginia was because of turning the ball over. Against Syracuse last week, Syracuse's only touchdown came off of a scoop and score. Just don't turn the ball over, and you win. Period. You have a higher chance of winning if you don't turn the ball over. True fact. So if North Carolina can do those 3 things, they're going to win this game. But I expect them to win this game. They should win this game. You are the better team. Go out and prove it. But anyway, that's going to wrap it up today's episode of the Tar Heels Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Grant Chachere, and I'm also the lead beat writer for North Carolina Tar Heels on SI, bringing you all the latest news and updates in regards to your North Carolina Tar Heels. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Tar Heels Insider Podcast, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.